GM, and welcome back to Crypto Saving Expert, the show where we discuss the latest cryptocurrency news and introduce you to the pioneers and the founders of the space. Today, I'm joined by a legendary returning guest, none other than the co-founder of BorgPad and Nomu. Daniel, how are we doing?
Hey, Spud, how are you, mate? Absolute pleasure to be back. It's been a while. Always feels great.
It's been a while since we've been on stream, but we actually caught up last week at ETHCC. Crazy week. How was the event for you?
We end up being knackers. It takes so much out of you, right? Like, I mean, maybe people are social butterflies that can deal with it better. Mm-hmm. I have like a limited amount of social battery, and once it hits low, it's low. So we now seclude ourselves from the world. I'm actually here in Morocco because my girlfriend hasn't got a European visa, and so we had to find a country just outside of Europe, and Morocco made the perfect sense. And here we are.
What a shame. Brilliant. No, it looks beautiful there. And I'm still in the south of France, if you can't tell. Here it's nice weather back in the UK though, so let me know in the chat. But yeah, I attend these events and I get tired, but when you attend events, you're often hosting or even co-hosting a lot of events. There was a big event, I believe it was last Wednesday, which was the Swiss Borg and kind of Nomu catamaran. How was that, and what's it like putting an event like that together and see it all kind of pull off?
Listen, I can take zero credit for that event. I just showed up like you did. The Swissbook team did an amazing job at that. Obviously, the Nomu is part of the Swissbook family. As you said, I founded a BorgPad, and I was doing a lot of product work for Swissbook for 4 years before that. And so we're very, very close. And they were kind enough to let us unofficially co-host it, at least have a big presence there. But it's all Danny, who's also called Danny, by the way. Swissbook Danny, the better Danny, who's co-hosting.
I even saw Cyrus walking around with his Nomu hat on though, so the Nomu community were definitely at large on the boat. Super good trip. But we'll talk more about Nomu, guys, later on in the stream, so make sure to stay tuned. Slap a like on today's video. First, we're going to obviously talk about Bitcoin. All-time high, absolutely crazy, ripping away. But is alt season on the way, guys? Let me know in the chat. We'll have a quick look at that. I'll pull some things up on the charts as well. Perhaps we just go straight to the Bitcoin chart. Daniel, let's pull this up here. Were you shocked by the move and how quickly it appeared to happen, or is this something that you've known's on the cards this month?
No, well, I tend to not speak too much about price because I feel like there's only two reasons you would do that. Either you have inside information, or you have a system that consistently allows you to outperform the rest of the market. And I have neither one of those. So the short answer to your question is I had no idea that this was going to happen this month. Obviously, it's a response to the Fed's move. But generally, I think it's just, whether it's happened this month or next month, the month after that, it's just a weakening dollar as they're going to print more and more money. And as long as that keeps happening, the only way up for Bitcoin, is up, just as a consequence of it being denominated in dollar rather than anything else. So if whatever thing you price is in dollar and the dollar becomes weaker, then consequently the counterparty of that goes up. So for me, it's really just a reactionary move to being bearish on the dollar, to be honest.
Yeah, we actually touched upon this in yesterday's stream where, we mentioned if you look at the Turkish lira Bitcoin chart, it's just a straight line to the moon. And actually, now it's a little bit different. Now we're up at 118,000, but yesterday when the all-time high was 112, we still weren't at all-time high with the euro or pound. So it like you mentioned, it is all about the point of reference there. But I'll just go through the chat quickly as well. We'll see who we've got here today. We've got Ian Johnson. Good to see you. We've got Pratik. What does the fish meme coin mean? Is that a meme coin? All will be answered very soon. Pratik, we will be going through Nomu. Gannicus Crypto. Let's go, Spud. Nice alpha here. Very bullish. Good to see you, Gannicus. Steve saying, what a great day for crypto content. Yeah, I think can definitely pick up on positive vibes and sentiment in the community right now. We got Roy here as well. Graham, good to see you. Wizard of Alt. John Brown, and we've got H here with a question as well. Do you think it will drop anytime soon? Trying to not speak about price too much, but there, if we were to break below 116, I think we may come back into a range. But overall, still bullish for the rest of the month. I am expecting a major pullback some point in the summer, but I will talk about that on another stream, guys. But let's talk about some of perhaps some of you are more interested in alt season right now. Bitcoin is kind of tearing away. A lot of you are wanting to get stuck into altcoins, meme coins, or kind of waiting for alt season to really pull away. Obviously, we've seen ETH above 3,000. I think it's slightly below there now. If I just pull this up, actually no, it's just gone back over $3,000. Solana here at 170 as well. Still got a lot of headway to go to make all-time high on either of those. But Daniel, what's your take on Ethereum, Solana at the moment? Do you think we are seeing the start of the alt season, or is it just a slight hype at the moment?
I'll answer in a second. Just before the mic seems to have shifted, so I at least can hear you much worse than I could hear you like 3 minutes ago. Oh, there you go. That seems to be something happened. Maybe it's just my computer. Just in case the audience hears the same thing as me.
No worries.
It's a very good question about alts. You also got to differentiate between majors and then all the other bags that we have. Again, I think the Wagner sentiment is definitely over, just given the amount of dilution that happens. Most of the alts will not come back. The major ones, I think, are safe bet. I hold a significant amount of both Solana and ETH.
Yep.
Nowhere near selling them. Hopefully, ETH is now on a pullback away. Again, I have no fundamental take on why that would be until they find unless it's just a narrative pullback and they manage to get some momentum going back into developments on their chain, how the L1 will capture things like the Robinhood chain and that kind of stuff. So unless that's happening, it's just a mean correction that's going on, and you just have a pullback straight to means, at least on the BTC dominance chart. Yeah, that's really as far as it goes. For the rest of the alts, I think most of CT is probably kind of BTC sidelines, which is why it's probably pumping as well. Yeah. It's because I'm really not sure when alts will pump. If we're waiting for the usual liquidity flow or like trickle down effect of Bitcoin pumps, goes to the major Ethereum, Solana, and then trickles down, I'm not really sure it's happening, because what you see really on the BTC chart, the buying pressure, a lot of it's happening from institutionals, and there's no straight money flow that would go from a BlackRock ETF to your shitcoin that you bought 3 months ago. It's really not that easy. So it feels very different than previous cycles still to me. Let's see, it's anybody's game. I really couldn't tell you what will happen. Right now, it just seems like it's a mean correction and everything's just pumping because liquidity of Bitcoin is going up. That's it.
I totally agree with you there, and I think for me, the real signal of when alt season will come is when we see that sentiment change with retail. We see retail step in and take the market off of the hands of the institutions. So it seems like we have had a glimpse of that, but it's only been 12 hours. So I'm not going to jump to conclusions too soon. But there's lots of stuff going on in the Solana ecosystem. Obviously, last week there was all the hype with Let's Bonk taking the market share from Pump Fun. But then Pump Fun, they hit back very quick, didn't they? So they've announced the launch of Pump. I believe the pre-sale is going tomorrow. Let me just pull this question off here. And they dropped this video, which I'll play in the background here as well. But what's your take on this? Will it be an extraction from the ecosystem, or do you think a lot of users that have used Pump Fun are going to benefit by airdrops? Do you think it's going to be a net positive?
It's really tough. I'm openly not the biggest fan of Pump Fun, so whatever I'm going to say might be biased. Take that with interest. But truthfully, you got to ask yourself, this is a company that did $700 million of revenue last year. It's the biggest product market fit that crypto's ever seen. So now you got to ask yourself, why do you need to raise another billy at a $4 billion valuation when you already are sitting on an ultimate cash cow, which has given you $700 million of revenue? And the margin has to be absolutely ridiculous, because the infrastructure they need, it's mostly open sourced, it's all in Solana. Yeah. So these guys are floating in it. Why you need another $1 billion is a very good question. And so if you're thinking about investing in the Pump token launch, then that's really the as an investor, that's what you got to ask yourself. Like, what is the reason they need the other $1 billion, and what are they going to build with it? If it's to marginally improve the UX of Pump Fund, then that's not a $1 billion play at $4 billion valuation. No. So either they so you have really, the only thing I can see for Pump is either they will build their own L2 on Solana, which I think would be rather stupid, because the only thing you can try to do that for is to optimize your take rate and not having to share fees with the main layer one as much, but maybe you're going to optimize it for a couple percentage points. The other thing is you want to become a media empire and take on Stream, Facebook, so Twitch, Facebook, Meta. and all the others, which I think is probably what they'll try and go for. How they do it, I'm not sure. I don't have the information. That's the only reason I could imagine you raising that much money. But then again, it's for sure $1 billion if they manage to raise it from retail, which is ridiculous if they were to do that in this market. It's $1 billion that would go from the hands of retailers that would be liquidity for other tokens into the wallets of Pump.Fun, and that money will not be come back in the market anytime soon.
No, and as we know, a lot of people have traced the wallets of the founders and the platform itself, and they tend to take it off chain. They tend to bridge it over from Solana, and it is extracting from the ecosystem slightly. You could argue that they have brought a lot of retail, a lot of people, new eyes into the scene as well. So, there's always two arguments on either side there. For me, I'm going to be taking a look tomorrow during the pre-sale, kind of see how fast things go, kind of see the sentiment on Twitter, and then I believe it's launch. I'll have a look on Pump.Fun here, but I believe it's the 15th. It's a soon one, isn't it? It's they're not taking too much time. Let me just see what they say on their Twitter. So we got pre-sale starts on the 12th. More details. This gate announcement. This is just the total sales. Okay, no. So the pre-sale goes from the 12th to the 15th. And then token launch, if we're seeing, perhaps they haven't even said. I mistook that for the 15th, but
it'd be interesting to see who invests in it.
Yeah.
If it's retail, it seems crazy that retail would put in $1 billion at a $4 billion valuation. Especially with the amount of, or the lack of information that you have. Again, if I'm I don't know, I'm going to say any name here. If I'm Vanek, and I've been speaking to the Pump guys, and I know what the roadmap is, I know what the plan is, what things will be useful, which is classic information you would receive in any investment memo. Then maybe I can justify a rational move to invest a significant amount of money into it. But as a retail investor, at least I haven't found information. If it's somewhere out there, then let me know. But rationally, you don't have the information to make the choice, and emotionally, you can't, because there's no asymmetry. You're investing at a $4 billion valuation, which would immediately place it at one of the most valuable crypto companies out there, and you don't even know how the revenue is. Is there been information about if the revenue is going to flow back into the token? Have they said anything?
From what I've seen a lot of fake news. I've seen a lot of images that people have been generating to look real. So none that I've actually seen, from official channels.
Right. Because if you then assume that actually there has been no communication about how the token will actually accrue in value, and the only way they could make it happen is by bringing some of the revenue back on chain. And essentially, what they would do is hyperliquid, and this token sale would have to be a exchange of future revenue against short-term lump sum of money. If they do that, you can create some kind of valuation model that can make sense, and you can assume, okay, if they make this threshold of revenue, I can live with that, and it create this buying pressure. But without it, I just don't know how you'd invest at a $4 billion valuation. It just makes zero sense to me.
So I've actually bought the token distribution. When I first saw this, I actually thought it was fake, but it is actually from the official count here. Why does the team need 20%?
Okay, so they're keeping Jesus.
Yeah.
So that's $1 billion for the team at launch at the full.
And then existing investors. That's going to be them. That's going to be their cousins, their uncle. It seems a bit sus, all of this. Live streaming 3%. You were hoping that they were going to put more towards that. They're saying community and ecosystem initiatives. That may be like you said, improving the site, etc. The foundation, once again, where's that going? Liquidity and exchanges. Okay, yeah. And the ICO will take up 33% of that. Yeah, it's a bit crazy. It's one of those, I'm tempted to get involved. I think I'll play it by ear. I'm not going to be lumping around silly amounts. And as always, guys, do your own research and take a look into it. But one question I have, Daniel, do you think it will, one, rival the all-time high market cap of Trump, and two, do you think it will rival the hype and the hysteria about Pump compared to Trump?
I can't see rationally how it would. If it goes down to 60 billion, then that would be what? That would be 15x for them, from 4 billion upwards.
Yeah.
Which if they use the normal liquidity setup they have, they have market makers left, right, and center. But roughly to go to 60, to do like a 55, 56 billion valuation increase, that's roughly $5 to $10 billion in net buying pressure. It's huge amounts of money.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
So that's on top of the $1 billion that we already collected pre-raise, and then you need on top of that net buying pressure. So not just like volume, net buying pressure to get to those valuations. It's pretty crazy. I don't see how they would do that. Especially, it feels kind of like, I believe a lot in energy put out in the world. If you put good energy into woods, then you'll get good energy back for them. I'm not sure that they're really Solana aligned or ecosystem aligned to begin with. Even the ad that you looked at, the ad looked very neurotic. It's kind of crazy. I don't know. If you're going to participate, I'm going to ask you how you did. I'm probably not going to spend energy to that. But it's quite ironic that I choose it to this week, because it is precisely this week that they lost for the first time ever their top market share compared to Let's Bonk. So clearly, technologically, they don't have an asymmetry. Consumer basis wise, they no longer have an asymmetry. So why would you justify, like, clearly the stickiness of your model is not as sticky as you thought. And you're already being dethroned. So how much is Let's Bonk worth right now? Is that worth is it worth 5 billion more than them because they made more revenue? I don't know. It's a very weird world. I think it's non-sticky, non-positive movement. So yeah, I wish them all the best, but I'll be watching from afar, and I don't see how they would get these valuations.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult, and it's going to be difficult to rival what Trump did. And then you ask yourself the question: if it's not going to perform more than a 5x, will the degens really be interested?
But how could you the whole point? That's what I don't get. Like the degens, the whole point of Pundit Fund, if you really boil it down to what is their product market fit. Their product market fit is ape in at super low valuation coins to then try and not be the greatest fool and sell before the last person buys in.
Yeah,
and that only works at really small market caps. If you look at it from a return percent, if you like, I need to do like a certain X amount. At those valuations, it's increasingly hard to do. You're starting at a $4 billion valuation. It's super hard to do that. And the liquidity is actually quite thick because you got, what would be the day one liquidity? At least 33% plus. I know. I think it'll be hard. Maybe I'm wrong. For them, I hope I'm wrong. For the ecosystem, I hope I'm right.
I agree. I think if it does pull off, I will be very surprised, and hats off to them if they can. I'm not hoping for the downfall of it. Like you said, it will it'll be a net positive if this does go well. But it looks like it's going to be difficult to pull that off. But in a market driven by hype and quick pumps, where does Nomu stand?
Very good question. So for everybody that's listening to us, you actually might remember, like you guys are actually in a fish project as well, which is Chippy.
Big up, Chippy.
Chippy. Despite being a fish first token in the sense like we use the meme as a go-to-market strategy, it's actually anything but a meme. What we're building is the Kickstarter on chain. So we're essentially doing the opposite of what Pundit Fund is trying to do. The whole narrative of Solana, which of internet capital markets, something that we've all heard for the last couple of months. For those who don't really know what internet capital markets is, because it feels like a big word, but it really isn't. It just means the ability to. A capital market is a market. Yes?
All good, sorry.
Oh, right, that's me. A capital market is just a market for capital. What is capital? Capital is money. So it's a market for me to accumulate money and then to deploy it towards something else. And the internet just means that I can do it over the internet. Money markets in traditional finance exist all over the place. Vanek is one of the big players. You just take treasury money from other people. You usually put into low risk outputs. Usually it's lending as well. Like lending is the biggest money market out there in traditional finance. And crypto's focus on internet capital markets was speculation, token casinos. That's what Pundit Fund is by definition. And I think that the product market fit of crypto should go beyond that simplistic speculation. That's exactly what you see here, actually. It's very good timing. The difference between Web 2 and Web 3, if you look at it from a tech perspective, Web 1 was to read the internet. Web 2 was to read and write the internet. Social media is what we're doing right now. We're writing on the internet. We're publishing our own things. And Web 3 is the ability to own the internet. So read, write, and own. Again, here, perfect timing. And so Nomu, we want to bring back crypto to the product market fit of ownership. That's really what Web3 for me is. And in this case, what we're saying is that with us, you can start owning the products that you buy. So it's internet capital markets for real world products. It's Kickstarter on chain. Kickstarter, the limitation that it had is that whenever you pre-bought a product on Kickstarter, like a physical product, glasses, whatever it could be, they would give you some kind of gimmicky reward for doing that, such as a discount. You could potentially get it earlier. You could get a special skin, but they never went the full length, which is to give you ownership of the product that you buy, getting skin in the game into the actual company that does it. And that's because on Web2 rails, that's super, super complicated to do. Web3 allows us to very easily tokenize the process and distribute the different ownership and rewards to the people that corresponds to. And that's essentially what we're doing. When you see that little chart behind you is, we'll be able tomorrow to pre-launch products, physical products. This could be sushi, as you can see. We have a partnership with a big sushi brand in France, which you should order from tonight if you're hungry. It's called Côté Sushi. And essentially, whenever you order one of those sushi boxes, you get a revenue share afterwards whenever they sell. So the reason for that is that when we did the pre-sale of that, people pre-bought the product. That allowed for the production of the product itself. So the packaging, the marketing around it. Yeah. And as a thank you for Côté Sushi is willing to give a revenue share to those people. And so you essentially elevate yourself from being a consumer to a co-owner of a product. And I think that's super, super cool. Especially in the age of, if you think about AI and robotics and the automation that comes from that, we're saying that tomorrow you can turn your spending into actual ownership and passive revenue from anything you spend money on, which is super, super cool. And that's the whole vision of Nomu. So we start as a fish, but really that's just a playful way to go to market. Truly, we're building the Kickstarter on chain, and we're super excited to. Actually, we just announced earlier today our first product launch. So it's all happening. And yeah, glad to be able to speak with that. Glad to have you as well on board as an ambassador, which is super cool.
Brilliant. Yeah, I've been super excited. I think we spoke about it probably quite early on in the year, but then we really got into things around Token, around Dubai. I actually met a lot of the Nomu team there, met Jordan at the Swissborg event in Token, and it was totally sold. And it's not just sushi. A lot of people will think, okay, they're lining up with one sushi restaurant over in France. But if I just pull us to the side here, or this way, you can actually see, you've got plenty of other partners lined up for next year as well. And you even mentioned one just now as well. What will be the progression? Is the sushi the kind of the first test, and then it opens up, because it's very scalable?
It's super scalable. The vision we have is to build, starting with this Kickstarter model, but truly build what I like to call as an analogy, like a digital mall, where we're going to build storefronts for all our partners. And this could even be a storefront for crypto savings expert. And we could think about something as simple as, for instance, merch that we could sell. And each storefront, each partner of us has its own storefront that looks and feels like them. It's a white label storefront. And through that, you're able to pre-sell those products. So for instance, we're going to have a super cool hoodie for when autumn hits England. It's going to be rainy, cold, miserable. And we're going to have a really nice crypto savings expert hoodie. If you want to produce 1,000 of those hoodies, it'll roughly cost you from 10 to 20,000 pounds. And that's not necessarily something that's wise for you to spend money on, nor is it a capital efficient way of doing it. What we could do instead is be like, you have a community that really loves you and supports you. How about we give them skin in the game and becoming part of the crypto savings community one step further, and be like, okay, we're actually going to pre-sell those hoodies. You can be able to pre-buy them the same way you would have pre-bought a Tesla. And like a Cybertrunk, which is what they did, and then that allowed to produce the Cybertrunk. In this case, you would have produced the hoodies. And once they go for sale, you get yours, obviously. And then every single time we sell an additional one of those hoodies, you get a revenue share back until the last one is sold. So you, as a consumer, spend the same amount of money as you would have on a hoodie. Yes, you exchange a bit longer time for us to produce a hoodie, but then afterwards, you actually get skin in the game in all of the crypto savings expert hoodies. And out of that, we can do some really cool things. For instance, what we'll do with sushi, as you said, is one of the partners, but certainly not the only one. Once we launch to the 100 restaurants of theirs, we'll actually pull the money together, which we need about $200,000 to open the next restaurant, and we're going to do it in Zurich. Once we have pulled that money together from the revenue share, we're actually going to co-own the next sushi restaurant, and through franchising, we actually give you a perpetual revenue share from these new restaurants. So by simply having pre-bought your sushi, you now actually become a franchisee owner of the next sushi restaurant, and you get perpetual revenue share from that, which is super, super cool. And that's just the beginning of where this model could lead us. I really think we could distribute ownership through individuals via Web3, which is the whole purpose of this technology, through the means of spending. We all are consumers at heart, or unfortunately, this is the world we live in. We're all consumers, so might as well turn the money we spend into property that can get me revenue share in the future. And if we can achieve that, I think we'll have a really cool value proposition for crypto that no one else has done so far, and that really speaks to the heart and the ethos of Web3.
Very well put. It does speak to the heart of Web3, and one reason that one of the reasons that I got very interested in the project and came on board as an ambassador with Crypto Saving Expert, and even that Martini guy, he's also an ambassador here. He's backing the project as well, guys. So we will be sharing out announcements as they come. From the Nomu team in our Discord and on Twitter, etc. as well. But make sure to give them a follow. The link is all in the description there. But Daniel, we had a look at the Pump Fund token distribution. Can we talk about the Nomu token distribution and how that's going to look? And also, have you decided to go with a certain liquidity provider? And is there any cool mechanics that we can speak about?
For sure. So it'll look very, very different than the Pump Fund pie chart that I said earlier. And the truth is, you can simplify it much more. All these pie charts are complete nonsense in my opinion. So just a quick background to give this a bit of weight. I was a co-founder of Bulkpad, which, as you mentioned at the beginning, and that's the Swissborg's own launchpad on Solana. What we try to do at Swissborg is always to bring long-term value. Like Swissborg is a safe haven in crypto, and we try to apply the same thing for on our launchpad. So I have a strong conviction of when you launch a token, you either do it at the lowest possible valuation and put all the value on chain. So there's no point raising increasingly high rounds behind closed doors to then launch at a relatively high valuation without having found product market fit. It just doesn't make sense. Launching a token at $80 million FTV, for instance, or $100 million makes strictly zero sense. Or you do it when you're Pumped Fund and you have product market fit. That's fair. I understand why they would do it now at that valuation. They have product market fit.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I will agree with them to. I prefer how much more the other side, which is getting rid of all VCs and all the market making nonsense and just launching a token at a super low valuation, which is what we're doing. We're going to launch it at $1.5 million FTV. And the cool thing about it is that from all the ambassadors, the skin in the game that you guys got, we actually don't use it for treasury. We use it for liquidity, which means that valuation at 1.5 mil, we can actually guarantee it because the circulating supply, the dollar value of the circulating supply will equal the liquidity depth at that valuation. In other words, everybody could theoretically sell every last cent and the price would still hold at 1.5 because, again, circulating dollar supply equals depth of liquidity. And that's just simple math. There's no magic formula behind it. It's just the reason why other products haven't done that yet is it's a good question. Part of it surely is incentive misalignment because there are too many stakeholders, VCs, and they look for some kind of exit liquidity at one point. We have none of that. It's all self-funded. And in fact, the team itself, including myself, is all on chain and you'll be able to see transparently. We buy in at the same valuation as everybody else at $1.5 million FTV. So contrastingly to the, whatever it was, the 25% or 20% allocation for the team there at 4 billion, Nomu gets 0% allocation for the team. We buy in like everybody else because we believe in it, and that's the way it should be. Simple as that. So that's a whole bunch of things that we do. I think it's the way to do it with going forward for small projects. You can essentially what we do at 1.5 mil valuation is we just put the primary market, so the whole raising part of a project on chain. And so when it happens, for instance, we're talking to Alliance DAO, for instance, famously invest at $5 million FTV. They'll still be fine. They'll still invest at $5 million FTV, but they'll invest in it liquidly on the market. And that's just how it should be. Crypto, the whole point is, if you come back to internet capital markets, it's the democratization of access of ownership. And there's strictly 0 point rationally in like hardwise to put that behind closed doors. And once you've done feeding the insiders, the VCs, then put it onto the market and be like, guys, please buy my token. It makes 0 sense. So we're shifting the model on its head quite a lot, and I'm super excited to bring this forward. And hopefully, out of that, a lot of projects will copy it going forward, and we would have been able to improve the space that much more.
Yeah, I definitely think you have the chance here to become pioneers in this way of launching, and like you've been pioneers with Borgpad and Swissborg, etc. as well. So I'm looking forward to it. For me, it's the most anticipated launch of the summer. So guys, make sure to join the Discord as well, because you will hear all the first announcements and alpha. You'll hear it from Nomu first, but then I will be relaying it straight away. But I think, Daniel, we'll wrap up here for today. I would like to do a quick rapid fire questions if you have some time.
Absolutely.
You have a moment. Brilliant. Okay, guys, if you have any rapid fire questions that I should ask Daniel as well, whack them into the chat. I've just seen here saying, let's see Chippy and Nomu collaboration. Fish coins have got to stick together. And like Daniel mentioned, there's lots of ways that other tokens, other businesses, projects can get involved with the Nomu ecosystem as well. So keep an eye peeled, guys. But Daniel, let's get to the rapid fire questions. Here we go. Will Solana ever flip ETH?
Yes.
If you could describe Nomu in one word, what would it be?
Kickstarter on chain. 2 words.
What? It's all good. What was the first crypto you ever bought?
Nano.
Woo!
Don't
OG. What is the project you secretly admire? Guilty pleasure.
Half guilty. Bonk. They're great.
Yep. Will the Pump Fund token, we've already asked this actually, but will the Pump Fund token reach a higher all-time high than Trump? Let's change that. Will the Pump Fund token reach a higher all-time high than Doge? 30 billion.
Doge, wow. I hope not.
Perfect. Daniel, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to having you back on the stream. It's always a pleasure having you on, and hopefully we bump into each other at the next event as well. But guys, keep an eye peeled. All the links for Nomu are in the description there. Go check it out. Go slap a like on today's video, and have a great day, everyone. Take care. Have a great weekend. Woo!
Thank you so much, man.